The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we are continuing to do that today. We got a great show for you. We're going to have recaps of all the playoff action from Friday. We have a couple of more basketball previews to get to as well. Coach's Corners basketball previews as we are inching closer to the start of girls basketball. Friday is the start date of girls hoops. And then the week after, Wednesday, so a week from this Wednesday, the 27th, that's when the boys officially tip off as well. So we got a lot going on. Then football is still alive and well. We have 5 teams left. Let's look at the scoreboard on ysnlive.com. I'm putting it up on the screen for you so you can see what we're looking at. All right, there you go. The scoreboard on ysnlive.com, presented by Burnett Pool, Spas, and Hot Tubs. The YSN scoreboard is a great tool for the YSN fans, whether you're at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts. Either way, you don't want to look away from the screen or the action for too long, and the YSN scoreboard is a great, easy way to get live updated scores of your favorite teams across the YSN family. So we're going to go back in time to Friday's scoreboard. Right there. And Friday we had football action, and it looked like this. Warren JFK, a heartbreaker to Cuyahoga Heights. JFK has a great last drive in the fourth quarter. They go all the way down. They score a touchdown, but they need the 2-point conversion to tie the game, and they are stopped just short of that goal line, maybe a half yard short of tying up the game. They could not get it done, and Cuyahoga Heights, you got to tip the hat. They've knocked off 2 of our YSN schools in the past 2 weeks, and JFK really battled this whole game. Defense kept Cuyahoga Heights in check, and the offense, for that last drive desperation to even give themselves a chance to tie the game, was really phenomenal. But unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to JFK as Cuyahoga Heights gets that win. Up a division, in Division 6, Springfield took on a Dalton team that kind of struggled the week before against Pymatinning Valley, and they came into the Springfield game not looking to struggle again, as their defense clamped down on the Tigers, and they win 25-0. The Tigers are unable to get on the scoreboard. Gentile had a good game on the ground. He had over 60 yards on 17 carries, so he found some success. But the rest of the offense as a whole just could not get it going. The Tigers had less than 150 total yards in the game. Obviously, no points. It was 6-0 at halftime, though. So Springfield's defense was really working hard, keeping them in the game. And even going into the fourth quarter, it was just 13-0. And then an 81-yard pass to open up the third quarter, really open up those floodgates. And that's how Dalton was able to score their last points and really put that away. 25-0 was the final score. Poland was technically the underdogs in this game. When you look at seedings, it was 3 versus 2, but Poland's running game and their defense let them control the tempo, and they were able to upset, and I use air quotes, you can't see it because we have the scoreboard up, but they were able to upset Akron Manchester 24-13, and they go on to the regional final. Like I said, this is a game where Poland won in Poland fashion. They ran the ball well. They played good defense. They controlled the tempo of the game. Their offense wasn't explosive in the sense that they're going to score, 35, 40 points, but they just did what they had to do. They got the job done on the drives where they moved the ball. They finished their drives with points, and they ate up clock, and they controlled the tempo of the game. That's what Poland does best when they win. They also played very clean. Not a lot of penalties, no turnovers. So when Poland can control the tempo, play pretty clean, they are going to give themselves a really good chance to win football games. And that's what they did on Friday against the second-seeded Akron Manchester, who a lot of people thought were the team that was going to give the Raiders, South Range, the 1 seed, the biggest push this year. Not so fast. Poland wants a rematch, and they're going to get it because South Range took care of Garaway quite easily, 42-14. That 14th point for Garaway was scored in garbage time. So this was a runaway for South Range the whole way away. And just like Poland, South Range did what they always do. They scored early. They set the tempo for the game. And then they just kept putting their foot on the gas pedal. Nothing. It is really hard this year to get momentum on South Range. They have given up big plays. That's no secret. The Garaway's touchdown, their first touchdown of the game, was a big play, and it made it 14-7. That's when, a lot of fans would go, "Uh-oh, we might be in for a shootout," right? But South Range comes back, and they make a drive before halftime, they make it a 2-score game. They get a stop out of halftime, and then it's just all Raiders from there. They do not let these big plays that they're giving up this year turn tides. They're a bounce back team. They're a next play team. That is a testament to the coaching staff and culture. Lets them go next play, wash away next play, next snap, next quarter, next game. They're always just one step in front of the other. They're not looking ahead. They're not getting down. And they're not dwelling on the things that happen during a game. You're going to give up plays. I mean, it's just the reality, especially the deeper you go in playoffs. You're playing really good athletes that are going to make plays. Normally in playoff football, this is breaking the mold, but normally big plays turn tides of games, and that's one of the goals of playoff football is, can I make that explosive play that turns the tide? But against South Range, it doesn't. There was 14-0, big play, 14-7. You think, okay, here comes Garaway, right? No. South Range just said, okay, tip your hat. You made a good play. We're going to continue to make more plays than you. And they did that throughout the whole night. And, it's easy to do when you're maybe a professional football player or when you're in big, but we're talking about 15, 18-year-old kids. Not always easy to get them to say next play, right? To get them to not dwell on giving up a big play. This isn't as easy as South Range makes it look, as the coaches and the culture of South Range make it look. And trust me, if it was that easy, then a lot of teams this year would give up big plays and then not let the momentum turn in the game. South Range doesn't do that. We've seen it continuously all year. When they do give up something, they snap right back and they make the next play. And they eventually make more plays than their opponent. And now they have a rematch with Poland. This is going to be a fun one in Boardman on Friday. You look at that game the first time they played, and we'll talk about it more as the week goes on and as Friday gets closer. Excuse me, I feel like I'm about to sneeze. Is you ever get that tickle in your nose where you're like, I am going to sneeze, and then nothing ever comes of it? That's what just happened. It's weird. But we'll talk about Poland South Range, the first matchup, what we learned from the first matchup, what this matchup looks like, a lot more throughout the week. But initial thoughts from both sides is it's going to be a dogfight. No pun intended, because it's the Bulldogs, of course. But I think South Range knows that it's going to be a big fight. And I think Poland is kind of licking their chops like, hey, man, if we played clean the first time, we'd have every chance to win that game. So I think both teams are kind of looking for a very competitive game and getting ready for a battle to a chance in state. That's the other good thing about this game. YSN's guaranteed at least one team in the state semifinals. And that's always fun. Perry, after being held to 3 points in the last week's playoff game against Struthers, they erupt against Streetsboro. They go off for 45, and they pound the Rockets to get to the regional finals, 45-21. That is much more like the Perry we're used to seeing. And you know what? Yeah, I kind of expected it because they moved the ball against Struthers. The only thing that held them back was turnovers and penalties in the red zone. And that's coachable, that's fixable, and it's not something that's going to happen consistently. So they moved the ball. They against Streetsboro. They didn't turn the ball over in the red zone, and they got it done. 45-21, the final score. Ursuline, slow start, but eventually pulls away from Aurora. Final score 29-10 against the Green Men, and Ursuline is moving on to the regional finals. This Ursuline team, this was the first time where to start a game, well, first time in a little bit, probably since the Villiana St. Joe's regular season game, I would say, that they kind of had a little bit of adversity. At the start of the game, it was back and forth, couldn't really get a lot going, kind of keeping it close, and then all of a sudden, they bounce through adversity, they see the other end of the tunnel, and they get through it, and they make a lot of game-winning plays, and that's what Ursuline does. I think it was really good to see Ursuline kind of tested, because they weren't tested the last couple of weeks in the playoffs, that's for sure. So a little bit of a test for Ursuline. They get punched in the mouth a few times, get off the mat, and they are going to the regional finals. They'll need that to lean on as the teams get better and better as they go on. Austintown Fitch, they got beat by Walsh Jesuit 42-28. A lot of people thought this might be that Walsh Jesuit game where they look ahead. This was a quote-unquote trap game for Walsh Jesuit. That's not a knock on Austintown Fitch, but everyone knew who was looming in the other end of that bracket, and it's a big rivalry for Walsh. So a lot of people thought maybe Fitch could kind of sneak in and throw some jabs and get some opportunities, because Walsh Jesuit won that game with Hoban so bad that they kind of forget about Fitch just sitting there. And it didn't happen. I give Walsh a lot of credit in this one, because they did not give a single thought to Hoban until this game was over. And that's hard to do when, especially, once again, I talked about it with South Range bouncing back from giving up plays. Like when you're talking about 15, 18-year-old kids, the mentality part of sports can be dicey, right? You never know how they're going to respond to things, how they're going to approach things, because they're not fully mature yet. That's just the reality. You're dealing with high schoolers. So Walsh Jesuit had every opportunity to get all psyched up because they're about to play Hoban and not give Fitch the respect they deserve. That's when you really get snuck up on. And not that Fitch would have been a really sneak up, but this is a Walsh team that I think a lot of people penciled in to the regional finals before the playoffs started. So Fitch, they were the underdogs, and that's once again, no knock to Fitch, but they were the underdogs in this game, and I want to give Walsh a little bit of credit for not thinking ahead, not looking ahead to this big rivalry with Hoban that they're going to get, because Hoban was able to beat Nordonia. We'll get to that game in a minute. But going back to Fitch's standpoint, this game just was one of those ones that got away early, and if you're down by more than 2 scores to Walsh, you're not going to be able to really climb out of that hole. They had to get off to a fast start, maybe get a lead, get Walsh a little bit nervous. That didn't happen. Walsh Jesuit set the tone early, got a big lead before halftime. Fitch fought back and made this respectable. I mean, it could have been a lot worse than 42-28. But they ran into a juggernaut. They ran into a buzzsaw. Whatever the superlative is that you want to use to describe what Walsh does with, that's what Fitch ran into. And congratulations to Walsh on that victory. But now they'll run into another YSN school in Archbishop Hoban, who got the 48-13 win over Nordonia. Once again, this is a team that had a pretty close win a week ago. And they kind of refocused, regathered themselves, and smashed Nordonia in the semifinals. Some of these teams are breaking the mold that it's supposed to get harder as you go. I mean, you look at South Range, they had a little bit of a harder fight against Girard. Perry escaped a 3-0 victory. Hoban, last week, they struggled a little bit, and all three of those teams looked a lot better and looked a lot more dominant in the semifinals. Playoffs are supposed to get harder as you go, not easier, and these teams are breaking the mold, and that's what we like to see. So we have, count them, 5 YSN teams left in the regional semifinals. 2 of them are playing each other, so we're guaranteed 1 team in the state semifinals, but we also have hopes in Perry and Ursuline and Archbishop Hoban making the state semifinals as well. Then we did have hockey. It started the season on Friday, and it was Orange. They got the 3-2 win over Mayfield to open up their season on Friday. Don't believe any hockey was on Saturday. I think it went to Sunday. Yes, I am right. So now we go to Sunday scoreboard real quick because we have a hockey game to take care of there, and it was Canfield. They fell to Solon 5-3 in their first game of the hockey season. So hockey and winter sports is underway. Basketball once again starts on Friday with girls, and then we will have bowling today. So we have bowling today, basketball on Friday. We have wrestling, which opens up their OHSAA season on December 5th. So we're almost, we're getting there. We're getting there. These are kind of like the golf and cross countries of fall sports. The appetizers, the ones that start a little bit earlier than the ones that get a lot of attention, but we are going to shine a light on them anyway. Wellsville gets Beaver Local, Crestview going champion, and LeBray going to Brookfield in boys bowling. Girls bowling, same matchups. Beaver Local, Wellsville, Crestview champion, LeBray, and Brookfield, all taking on each other today. 4 o'clock start for all 6 of those games, and we will have the best of luck and the results for you when they come in from bowling tonight. So winter sports has officially begun with hockey and bowling. Once again, girls basketball starts Friday, boys basketball starts on the 27th, and then wrestling starts on December 5th. With that being said, that does it for our scoreboard recap of the day. We're going to take a break. When we come back on Running Point, we have a couple of Coaches' Corners basketball season previews to get to you. We will have Dan Horacek from Austintown Fitch Girls Basketball and Randy Vinsel from Edgewood Girls Basketball. Those will both be featured on today's show when we come back from our commercial break on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on
the solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. We are going to continue the show by doing our Coach's Corner season previews that we've been featuring on Running Point for the last couple of weeks. We have girls basketball coming at you. We'll start with Austintown Fitch and hear from Coach Horacek. Ty Bartell had a chance to talk with him about the upcoming season in Fitch, and we're going to play that interview for you right after we have Randy Venzel from Edgewood. Enjoy listening to these basketball previews on Running Point.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we're all good.
Because Beanie's having practice out there. He gets loud sometimes, so I didn't know if it got through the if you can hear it through the door or not.
No, we're all good.
You know how he gets.
Yeah. Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we're in with the second-year skipper over at the Austintown Fitch girls basketball team, Mr. Dan Horacek, joining me today. Coach, how are we doing?
Fantastic. Glad to be on. Hope everything's going good with you.
Everything's going great as well, Coach. It's practice season. Officially, it's scrimmage season. I know you might have been waiting for a few athletes maybe to come back to the team with the way that fall sports went for a lot of the ladies. But talk to me about what you've been seeing in scrimmages and what stood out to you so far in practices.
Yeah, we had one scrimmage. We went to Crestview last Monday. Had a good scrimmage. We scrimmaged them in Sandy Valley. Kids played really hard there. Gave me the best effort they could give me, and it was against two very competitive teams, and I was happy with what I saw.
You guys bring back a little bit from last year, but you do lose a lot from last year too. Talk to me about some of the names that you're seeing on this roster that you think are going to have an impact on the floor and will get some quality minutes this year.
Yeah, I have 5 seniors this year: Rachel Spalding, Liz Spalding, Sam Severn, Jennifer Fanchik, and Ryan McGagan. Those are my 5 seniors. They're my 5 leaders. They've been in the program for 4 years. Some other players that will get a lot of action is Juliana Farmer, Amaya Harris, and Kaylin Bauer as well. And they're 2-3-year players, and they know the expectations, and they all work extremely hard, and they're looking forward to this season.
You've been with the program for a long time, but I'm excited to see you going into second-year head coach now. Do you feel like, I guess, maybe some pressures are off? Do you feel like a little more confident, or were you same confidence? What's it like going into year 2 now for you?
No, I feel the same pressure. Our job here is to win basketball games, right? And if I don't feel pressure, then I'm probably not the person to be doing it anymore, right? So I always have the highest expectation for my athletes, and I tell them that every day. And so far during practice and everything like that, we've worked extremely hard. I'm really proud of them.
You mentioned a lot of newer names that we're going to be seeing on the floor for some quality minutes this year, and I got to assume that's going to lead to some different types of strengths too, which you're going to have to play to get your wins. When you talk about strengths and team identity, what would you say you would think this team's identity and the strengths are that you're going to have to play to get your wins?
We'll be very athletic like we were last year. It's going to take some of the players to learn how to play varsity basketball for 32 minutes. but we're going to play the same type of game, up fast, a lot of pressure on defense, and we're going to come at you for 32 minutes, and we're going to give it our best effort.
You guys were able to be competitive in a tough All-American conference last year. I know there was a lot of talent that left, but a lot of talent that's returning. It's one of the best smaller conferences, I think, in the area as far as basketball is concerned. What are you seeing out of the AAC this year? How do you guys feel you're going to be able to compete with the rest of the conference this year?
So we all know each other very well, right? So we play each other twice a year. We see each other in the summer. Coaches talk throughout the summer as well. So we know what we're going to get. We're going to get physical games. We're going to be we know the type of style that each team plays, and we're just really looking forward to it. Our conference is so good every year, and I don't expect anything different this year.
When you talk about some maybe non-conference games that you guys are excited for, what are some that pop up? I know that smaller conference schedule allows for you guys to have a lot of non-conference games. So what are some of those tests that you're excited for your girls to go up against?
Yeah, we go. We're going up to Cleveland like 3 times this year. We have Hathaway Brown. We open the season up at Hudson. We play Cleveland St. Joe's again. Always, those are 3 really, really tough teams. I'm looking forward to the local matchups too that we play. Every game's an opportunity for us to improve and get better, and I just can't wait to get started with these kids. I'm excited for them. I know they can do it, and the coaching staff has their back.
When you talk about going into second year as a head coach now, when you talk about the culture and the way you want this team to eventually be, right, long-term plan and how you want everything to look at maybe 3 years from now, 5 years from now, what would you say some of the things you're looking to accomplish here in year 2? Is it a lot of maybe refining what the girls have done? Is it bringing in new things, introducing new things? What are some of your goals for year 2 now?
Some of my goals, and we talked about this in individual player meetings after tryouts, their goal is to win. A lot of the players' goals are to win conference again this year and try to make it far in the playoffs. And as a program, all we can do is keep developing that. Our first goal with the team is probably always win the AAC, our conference. It's a season-long goal. And then our next goal after that would be to win a playoff game again, maybe get to district final, or maybe make a run and get to the regionals. It's a different setup this year, so it's by no means is it easier. But if you win 2 games, you're in the regionals. So that's quite a bit different. And those are just 2 really good goals that we have, and the kids seem to be on good pace with that too.
We saw that Falcon volleyball team get a little bit of a benefit from the expansion of divisions in the sport. Of course, basketball is going to be the same now, 7 divisions across the board. What was your initial opinions and thoughts on that too? I know it's kind of I've heard both sides, and there's both sides of the argument for that as well. Some like it, some don't, and for very good reasons on both sides. What was your initial opinion on the expansion of divisions?
The jury's still out for me on it. We haven't really gone through it yet. I think that it was great for the volleyball team, and they have really good athletes, and they had a great run. And to make it that far, regional final is unbelievable season. And I think it's just going to be different to see how each sport does it. But I'm looking forward to the change. I think change is always good. It makes people more attentive, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Coach, I also want to give you a chance to shout out that coaching staff that you're going to be having around you, helping you out every step away along the way this season. Yeah,
so I have Jason Sanak back with me. He's going to be my varsity assistant this year. He's one of my greatest friends. We've been coaching together for a long time, even back when we would do youth leagues together. Alexis Salih, former player, actually coached her twice in her life. I tell people this. I coached her in 2nd grade, and then I coached her again when she was a senior. And we coached golf together here at the high school as well. Jake Capizzuto is going to be my JV coach this year, and he's still back from the high school. So we have some new people. We have some new people in spots, but the girls know them, and everyone that we moved up they're ready for the challenge.
You are a coach that I feel like does a great job of getting your players to give it their all, no matter the talent level, no matter where they are skill-wise. I think you do a very good job of getting each one of your players to give everything that they got. It's not easy to be able to do that, though. And I mean, we talk with high school girls too. Sometimes telling them what to do isn't always the best thing, right? What is it? What is your trick? What's the magic secret to getting the most out of your players too, and getting them to play with as much heart as we see them play on the hardwood for you?
I tell them every day that I'm proud of them and I love them, and they believe it because they know it's true. I think they know that I give it everything that I have. I don't leave anything out on the floor. I give it everything that I can every day. And I think we just have a great mutual respect for each other. They know my expectations are very clear. I tell them I will not get mad if you don't, unless you do not try your best. And as long as they try their best, they give everything they had, they leave everything on the floor. We did the best we could. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's the game. That's why we play it, right? So I think the girls understand that, and I think they just they like being around each other and they want to win for each other. They're all friends as well, so they know how hard we work as a coaching staff, and we know how hard they work as players. So it's a mutual respect type of deal.
You usually want your team playing the best type of basketball towards the end of the season, and I think we saw a lot of growth from this team over the course of the season too. And I mean, we went from the Holiday Hoops Classic, you guys beating Green too, and those big Federal League teams, and those were some big wins for this program. When you talk about growth this season, what's some short-term growth from now until game 1 that you want to see, and some long-term growth from game 1 to game 22 that you want to see out of this team?
I just want to see them get in the rhythm and learn some of the offense that we're putting in, keep getting it at 100% on defense. We might be one of the smallest teams in the area this year, but we can't use it as an excuse. We still have to rebound. We still have to do fundamentally things right for us to compete and win games, and I believe that they can do it. So it's just everything's a step-by-step process. Right now we're in the beginning of it, but we keep pushing them along, and they've really reacted to it. And we got better in our scrimmage on Monday with Crestview and Sandy Valley, and we have another big scrimmage coming up this weekend up in Brecksville. There's going to be 13 teams up there, and so I just look to continue to see the improvement.
One of my theme questions for basketball coaches this year is the lessons the game has taught you. You guys are all teachers of the game. You've taught countlessly so many young ladies, young men as well in the sport. But I want to know what the biggest lesson the sport of basketball has taught you.
Perseverance. You work so hard at it. You keep pushing through, and eventually good things will happen. And I tell the kids all the time, like in the beginning of the year, usually when we have to cut, I never made a basketball team. I never made a basketball team growing up and going to school. But I found ways to stay in the game. I persevered through it. And now I'm living part of my dreams out. I always wanted to be a teacher, and I always wanted to be a basketball coach, and I'm doing it. And it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of assistance from great coaches like Coach Beanie on the boys' side. Other coaches I've had like Bert Stellers, Gary Conroy. They kept me in the program. They let me coach in the program when I was young, in my early 20s. And I just kept going through that. And a lot of my friends went through with me too. Coach Schnernberger, Coach Sanadak, who's on my staff right now. We sort of did it together. And it's just been a heck of a ride. It really has. I would never change it for the world. I love it to death. And it's my favorite game. Basketball is my favorite game.
You are able to relate to players too because of that. You're able to have those shared experiences, and you throw ego out the window when you talk about those shared experiences too. Has it always been so easy for you to find that kind of common ground and connect with people and younger people, kids like that too? Was it something you had to work at? Have you always naturally been able to connect with younger people and players and athletes, student athletes?
I think I'm a kid at heart, and I haven't really changed much since I've been a kid, actually. So I joke around with the players all the time. If you see us, we'll be laughing a lot. And I think it keeps it light. And, I enjoy it. They keep me young, right? I'm 43. Look at my beard. It's like I look like Santa Claus getting ready to roll here. They keep me young. Like, look, I shave my head for them a lot. We do like goals like that. And they just keep me young, and they're a pleasure to be around. They make me a better person.
I love to hear it, Coach. Finally, before we let you go, I want to give you that opportunity. I know we highlighted some of the schedule. Shout out your first game because when basketball comes around, it means Thanksgiving, to me at least. I mean, boys and girls basketball starting up. So I want you to shout out when your first game it is. And I know it's going to be around Thanksgiving time. So shout out your favorite Thanksgiving dish as well.
Yeah, so our first game is November 23rd. We travel up to Hudson. And, man, probably my favorite stuff on Thanksgiving is probably mashed potatoes and things like that. I'm not a real big turkey guy. Not like a yam guy. I like the straight mashed potatoes.
I think you're the second or third one giving some love early on in the coaches that I've asked for the mashed potato. Stuffing is overwhelmingly the number one go-to, the fave across the board.
I should add this. I like everything my girlfriend's mother makes on Thanksgiving. It's the best.
She's got it across the board. So she's the solid cook too. Maybe I have to come over there and sneak a plate.
Come on over. You're invited.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck this season. I know I'll be seeing you out there on the hardwood real soon. I'm excited to see the growth from the girls this year and just to see what you're able to do with your second year at the helm.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Ty. Thanks for everything you do over there as well. Looking forward to seeing you.
Anytime, Coach. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you as well. This has been a first edition of Coach's Corner with Fitch girls basketball skipper Dan Horacek. Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartellin with another edition of Coach's Corner, and we're with my man, Randy Venzel, with the Edgewood Warriors girls basketball program. Another year, huh, Coach? Another year with the Warriors on the hardwood. How are things looking right now with the Edgewood Warriors?
Looking pretty good. We lost two key contributors from last year's team, and Katie McAllister and McKenna Venzel. So there'll be some shoes to fill there. But we got a couple girls hopefully ready to do that, and had a couple scrimmages already, and real good one, and then another competitive one. So we hope to compete in every game this year for sure.
When you talk about the Warriors girls basketball team, up and down, what it looks like, what are some names we're going to have to get used to, some names we're going to expect to get minutes on the hardwood this year?
We got 5 girls returning from last year's team that'll round out our starting 5. Annie Johnston, she'll be one of our main scorers, one of our ball handlers. Avery Venzel, same thing. Shooter, ball handler. Leah Guyton, she's not much in the height department, but she's got bunnies, jumps out of the gym, and so we'll be looking for big things from her. Just the athlete, gets after it on defense. Carly Cray, also just a hustler. Soccer girl, love soccer girls because you don't have to teach them the physicality and the hustle and getting after it. They just get after it. So, and then rounding out starting 5 will be Faith Venzel. She's our big, but can handle like a guard and just a freak athlete, I call her. Just God-given gifts, and she'll be making an impact for us this year for sure.
I love that Edgewood community, and you really can't spell Edgewood Athletics. You could also spell Edgewood Athletics, Vencill, as well, with how many Venzels have contributed both athletically on the floor in coaching roles. And I mean, you got to have that deep love for Edgewood as a community. And I can't imagine anyone really has much more of a deeper love for Edgewood Athletics than the Venzels.
I'll tell you what, we were actually Ashtabula people. So Edgewood, we weren't fans of Edgewood. I could tell you that. Like, they were the crosstown rival. Harbor was our rival, but we didn't like Edgewood much either. You know, we weren't big fans, and obviously moving into the community and our kids growing up here, we've really invested into it. And now, of course, we love Edgewood and we love what they're about, and just the family aspect. And yeah, I can't say enough about Edgewood, but yeah, it was a slow progress to get that love we have for it for sure.
When we talk about this conference play too, there's a lot of that still animosity and rivals that are across conference play, both on boys and girls side basketball wise. Looking in the conference too, it looks to be a competitive one. It looks to have a lot of talent up and down it. How do you guys expect to fit in, and talk about that conference play a little bit?
Like I said, I believe we should be able to compete in every game this year. In years past, I couldn't always say that, but I do believe we can compete. I believe 5 or 6 teams in the conference could win the conference, to be honest. On any given night, I feel like those teams could beat each other. Madison, I feel they have probably the best player in the league, and Zoe Delajanis, and I know her 8th grade group was really solid. So I know they have another solid freshman there. And Jefferson, they have a great 8th grade class coming in, along with Bordeaux, who they had last year. So they're going to be a force. Geneva's always a force. Emily does a great job out there. She's got tons of athletes, and also got a girl from St. John's. So I've been doing my homework on where everyone's at for sure. But, I feel we can compete with any of those teams too. But like I said, someone has a bad night. Anyone can beat anyone, so.
For you guys to get those wins, you're going to have to play to your strengths. When you look at this team, obviously, it might change over the course of the season, but what do you expect the strengths to be of this team early on?
Just our ball handling, our passing, our defense is always, we hang our hat on our defense. So as always, we're going to get after it there, trying to pressure teams and trying to get out and get some easy baskets. That's always been our thing. Not having Katie, who is really good at breaking down defenses, getting us into our offense, somebody's going to have to step up to be that playmaker, to kind of break those defenses down to get into our offense. So, but I feel we got some girls that are going to step up and do that for us for sure.
Gives you that opportunity to be that next big name too. And I mean, it's all the girls for the taking, right?
That's it. I tell them we got 29 points to make up. So
someone's got to contribute somewhere. One second. Think we lost Coach.
Yeah, my wife warned me too. She's like, "You better plug that thing in." I said, "It's got half a battery. I'm good." And that was it. I guess she knows her laptop better than me.
No, we're good, man. I can edit out the middle part. So we'll just pick it right back up then too. We're talking about the strengths of this team. You talk about the athleticism of this team too, that you're going to have to get those type of playmakers. Looking at the non-conference games though, that are going to help test you for that conference too. What are some non-conference games you're excited for to test with these girls with?
Yeah, so we start right off the bat, NDCL and Mayfield in the holiday tournament at West G. So we'll know real quick where we stand and how we fare for sure. I got to remind myself to yell at our AD for such a tough non-conference, but we're okay with it. We'll be up to the challenge. And like I said, so those two to start. And then we have PV, who I feel could be the best team in our county this year. They got a lot of girls coming back, and they just got a new coach, Michael Cole from Champion, who I respect a ton. Great coach there. So
absolutely,
I know they'll be a tough team. And then Perry, who's in our conference, but luckily not in our division this year. But I always look forward to playing them and Coach Roy. So we'll find out real quick how we're going to fare this year.
When you talk about your ability to connect with the girls and get the most out of them, I feel like you do a really good job of that as a coach and trying to get the most out of your athletes. And I mean, it's not easy to connect with high school girls. They all have different personalities, and I mean, they come from different backgrounds. They have their own set of challenges that each one of them face. How are you able to connect with your girls? How are you able to get the most out of your girls on the hardwood?
My motto's always been, boys, they have to play good to feel good. Girls, they have to feel good to play good. It's always been that. Like, I could go before a game and see the mood, and if they're up and they're excited and they're happy, like, they just play well, and that's the thing I love about girls is you tell them to run through a wall, they'll run through a wall. I think the only difference is you have to tell them run through the wall, take a right, left. They'll do exactly what you tell them. It's great, but they'll also do exactly what you tell them. So you kind of got to coach, which is fine. I've learned that over the years. But I just love it. I love coaching girls. I do connect obviously with 3 daughters. So like I say, the way they feel is kind of the way they play, to be honest. So
when you look at the coaching staff too that are helping build that brand of Edgewood basketball too and maintain that culture, maintain that standard, what are some other big names in the Warrior program that you couldn't do it without?
My JV coach, Jordan Venzel, she puts as much time as me, just pouring into these kids, and I couldn't do it without her. Great help. Then my junior high program has been led by Jason Aponte the last couple years. He did leave last year and went to Conneaut for a varsity job there. But he did a great job, just with the fundamentals down there. So this year I got McKenna Venzel and Rick Nemeth helping me out with the junior high. I was actually, we had enough for a freshman team, but I really didn't have enough coaches to cover all of that. So it's just me and her again at the high school level. So if you know any coaches looking for a spot, I got one. So
it's kind of like a feel kind of full circle moment for you though, man. It's going from teaching the little girls to playing basketball to now they're coaching and helping coach programs for you.
Yeah. Hopefully, you put something in them where, they wanted to do it, obviously. So they must have had a good experience at it. So now after coaching, they may, see differently, but for now they love it. So
when we look at the Edgewood program too, it's always been one that I've been excited to have on YSN too. And you guys, I could see that the Venzel family just across the board pours their heart out into athletics and multiple facets of the Edgewood community. And we love having you on the network year in and year out, Coach. When we look at this year though, with basketball coaches and questions, one of my theme questions this year is the lessons the sport of basketball has taught you. You guys are great teachers. You guys teach the sport of basketball to countless young ladies, but I want to know the biggest lesson the sport of basketball has actually taught you.
Just relationships. It's about building those relationships with the kids, loving on them. That may be the best part of their day is practice or a game, because nobody ever knows what home life's like, so we just try to be that family that loves on each other. It's more than basketball, wins and losses. We say do things the right way, wins will come. I'm not a win at all cost kind of guy. I'm more make memories with your friends, have fun, and wins just seem to come with that. So that's always been my motto. That's what basketball's taught me. You teach them the discipline, the right things, and it seemed to work for us so far.
You talk about coaching being a tough thing to do. I mean, it's not easy to keep coming back to it too. I mean, you go through the ups, you go through the downs, but like you said, the relationships I feel like are one of those reasons too. But why Edgewood? Why do you keep coming back to the Warrior program? And what's got you with the Edgewood Warriors that's got you coming back year in and year
out? Like I said, the support there, that AD Steve Cray, I feel he's the best in the area, hands down. He does stuff for kids that, he could just come in, punch the clock, do the things that I actually see other ADs do. Not, throwing any shade at them, but he goes above and beyond. And, as coaches, we feel supported. He's always there for us. And just the Edgewood community, they always come out. We have alumni that come to our games and support from the 60s and 70s, and it's just a great community, to coach in. I've never had parent issues, knock on wood. Like, I don't know. We don't have the issues. So it's kind of easy to come back year after year.
And that's always a great blessing too when you got support from the entire community and parents alike too. It helps in building a program, no doubt. Coach, I know you already shouted out your first game, but I want to give you that chance to shout out the community, let them know why they should be there. Because I mean, right around the start of girls and boys basketball season, it's Thanksgiving time. That's at least what it reminds me of. So as you shout out the community, let them know why they got to be there. You also got to shout out your favorite Thanksgiving Day dish.
Oh, favorite dish? Turkey. Nothing like a full belly and a nice nap. Turkey does that.
How's
for
the turkey got to be cooked? Is it smoked, deep fried? Is it in the oven? How do you?
I just go basic in the oven, but I prefer the other ones. But that's too much work. So smoked turkey would be my meal, but it's just in the oven. Sometimes just a breast and call it a day. But I feel you come watch us opening night. It's going to be an exciting game. You're going to see good competition between two teams, and us. You'll see a team that's going to give their all. It's the holiday season. Get a full belly, come out, watch the little girls basketball. What more could you ask for?
I know those girls are going to be playing their heart out for you, sir, because you do a great job year in and year out with that girls basketball program. I look forward to seeing what they do on the hardwood this year. I look forward to crossing paths with you at some point during this season, Coach, as I'm sure I'll be talking to you again real soon.
Sounds great, Ty.
This has been a first edition of a 2024 Coaches Corner with the Edgewood girls basketball skipper, Randy Venson.
That was Randy Venson from Edgewood and Ty Bartell getting a chance to talk with him. As always, we want to thank both Coach Huracek and Randy Venson for giving him their time, and Ty Bartell for giving his time, doing a lot of these basketball previews as we get ready for the season. Girls basketball starting on Friday and boys basketball starting a week from Wednesday. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Had some really good numbers actually today in viewership. So we want to thank every one of you for taking a little break out of your day to hop on and watch Running Point on this wonderful Monday afternoon. We will see you again real soon tomorrow on 1 to 2 on Running Point. Let's see. What's this comment? It's probably spam, but oh, no, it's not spam. Randy Venson getting some love. Let's go. There is none better. I don't think there's any better. Randy Venson. That whole family, man. They're everywhere. They're everywhere in Edgewood. But once again, we'll be back tomorrow 1 to 2. Running Point always brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.